Ah, of course. I was made aware that you might come by. The Grand Duke has made a special appointment time available for you if you are free in 3 days, the new maid told us. Would that work for you? Suma asked me. I nodded my head. I think so. I mean, you can freeze time or whatever when you summon me, so really I'm always free, I said jokingly. I saw the other new maid's face when I started talking, but she didn't speak up or anything. She just looked very surprised. Suma looked confused for a moment. I don't freeze time when I summon you. I was taken aback at this and extremely shocked. What are you talking about? Every time you summon me and then put me back, I end up at the exact moment I left. Of course you are freezing time. I let my words hang in the air for a moment, and the room felt unnaturally still as I waited for her answer. A wait that spanned an eternity in mere seconds. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jake. I absolutely have no way to stop time. No one does. It's impossible. Suma shifted on my shoulder uncomfortably. But I do believe you. You believe me? I asked, but you said it was impossible. You're basically the walking definition of impossible, Jake. There is so much we don't know about you and your abilities. Who's to say that somehow time isn't stopping when I summon you? At this point, nothing surprises me anymore, she said, shaking her head. The other Nume interrupted. So I take it that you are free for a noon appointment in 3 days? Suddenly, Suma and I snapped back to what we were doing, and told the Nume that we wanted the appointment. We walked out of the Royal Citadel. Well, I walked and Suma rode. Suma, I began, what did you mean when you called me impossible? You have incredible strength, a forgiving heart, impossible levels of life force, and you have the ability to produce magic from your body at the same time as you manipulate the magic in the air. If you had any control or education in it, even the slightest bit, you would be a court-level mage, Suma explained. Okay, but what did you mean when you said that there was stuff we didn't know about me? The only thing I can think of is what happened at the Grand Sanctum, I said. You remember, right? That fire guy? Yes, I remember. Oh, that is one of them, perhaps even the biggest one. I didn't mean only that, Suma said. What else don't we know? I wondered. Well, there are quite a few things, really. Why a being born with our magic suddenly develops into a prodigy, how you were able to understand me and the rest of my kind despite never learning the language, and of course, there are things like your magical attributes and other things that are a bit easier to find out, Suma said. Well, why don't we start by finding out what we can? Begin with the simple stuff, you know, I suggested. I suppose you have a point. I was going to bring up getting your attribute tested anyway. Suma started letting her thought trail off, but with a jolt snapped back and started to explain. Oh, right, an attribute is... I cut her off. Actually, I have read enough manga and watched enough anime to know that much at least. An attribute is basically what I will be most gifted in, I said. Yes, exactly, Suma said. For a moment she had a look on her face like she wanted to ask a question, but she never did. So, what are we starting with? I asked. Finding out your attribute will be the easiest, but we will have to purchase a time stop with the equipment at the Grand Sanctum, Suma said. Alternatively, we could go to the city's library and try to find materials about what we saw in the Grand Sanctum. What will they charge us for the time slot? I questioned. Most people will accept coins made from rare metals, but the far more common method to pay is with mana transference, she explained. I thought back and remembered a conversation Sue and I had a week or so ago, when she explained how her world's economy worked. So most people pay with mana, she said. How does that work? I asked. Well, most vendors and businesses have the containers that store mana, so when you pay for something, you just put in the required amount of mana, she said. What do they do with it? I wondered. Sell it to the army, trade it with other vendors, or use it in crafting magical tools or equipment, she said. So, I could pay for it then? If you want, Suma said. Stepping back to the present, I turned to Suma and said, Alright then, let's go get my attribute tested.